The fall of Earth's defense network. The Galactic Alliance ships appeared without warning, materializing at the edge of our solar system in a shimmering display of advanced technology. Their armada stretched across space like a constellation of artificial stars, each vessel larger than anything humanity had ever constructed. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the observation deck of Space Station Aegis, Earth's most advanced defensive platform, and watched the enemy approach through the reinforced viewports. Her dark eyes narrowed as tactical displays projected the overwhelming odds they faced. "How many?" she asked, her voice steady despite the fear gripping her chest. Lieutenant Davis checked his console. "Over 300 capital ships, Commander. And those are just the ones our sensors can detect." Earth had known about alien life for decades, had even established diplomatic relations with several species. But the Galactic Alliance was different. A collective of technologically superior civilizations that viewed humanity as a potential threat, a species developing too quickly, too unpredictably. Negotiations had failed months ago, when Earth refused to dismantle its defense network and accept protection status. "All stations, this is Commander Reyes." She broadcast to Earth's 12 orbital defense platforms. "Execute Protocol Avalanche. This is not a drill." She turned to her crew, their faces pale but determined. "The Alliance thinks they know everything about us. Let's show them how wrong they are." Earth's defense network had been humanity's pride, a combination of energy shields, kinetic weapons, and experimental technology developed after first contact. But as the Alliance warships opened fire, reality became brutally clear. Their weapons were beyond anything Earth had prepared for, phasing through shields designed to stop conventional attacks. Station after station went dark. Distress calls flooded in, then abruptly silenced. Aegis shuddered as direct hits overwhelmed its structural integrity. Fires erupted across multiple decks, emergency systems struggling to compensate. "We've lost contact with stations Hephaestus and Athena," Davis reported, his voice cracking. "Orbital defense grid is down to 26% capacity." Commander Reyes gripped the command console, refusing to accept defeat. "Reroute remaining power to the prototype defense array." "Authorization, Reyes." Echo 7-9. "Commander, the prototype isn't ready." "It's all we have left, Lieutenant." The prototype fired, a pulse of quantum-entangled particles that temporarily disrupted the propulsion systems of 3 Alliance destroyers. A small victory, but insufficient against the overwhelming force bearing down on them. Zartek, Supreme Commander of the Alliance expedition, watched the human resistance from his command vessel. The tall, azure-skinned alien felt a flicker of respect as the humans continued fighting despite certain defeat. "These creatures are persistent," he remarked to his second-in-command. "But persistence without wisdom is merely stubbornness. Finish this." The final assault was swift and devastating. Aegis Station broke apart under concentrated fire, fragments spinning into the void. Commander Reyes ordered emergency evacuation, watching her crew scramble for escape pods while she remained at her post, transmitting data to Earth until the very end. As the command deck depressurized around her, Reyes activated her suit's oxygen supply and sent one final transmission to Earth's defense headquarters. "They believe they've won. Ensure they regret that assumption." On Earth, the destruction of the defense network created panic. Alliance ships entered orbit, deploying smaller vessels that established control over major cities. Their message was broadcast globally: surrender or face orbital bombardment. Governments capitulated within hours. Dr. Marcus Chen watched the invasion from his underground laboratory beneath the Rocky Mountains. Unlike the space-based defenses, his facility remained undetected, shielded by experimental technology he'd been developing for years. Around him, dozens of scientists and engineers continued working despite the world collapsing above them. "They've taken out our conventional defenses," he told his team, pushing his glasses up his nose. "But they don't know about Project Phoenix." Chen was a theoretical physicist who had been studying the Alliance's technology since first contact. While others focused on mimicking their weapons, he had pursued a different approach, understanding the fundamental principles behind their systems and finding inherent weaknesses. Their technology relies on quantum phase stability, he explained, bringing up holographic models. It's incredibly advanced, but also rigid in its operating parameters. They've optimized rather than adapted. Meanwhile, the Alliance established their occupation. Zartek addressed humanity via global broadcast, his translator converting his harmonic language to human speech. "Your resistance was expected but futile," he stated. "The Galactic Alliance brings order to developing species for their own protection. Your technology advanced too quickly without the wisdom to use it responsibly. Accept our guidance, and you will eventually earn privileges within our collective." What Zartek didn't know was that resistance was already forming. Military survivors, scientists, and civilians began coordinating through old technologies the Alliance considered too primitive to monitor. Radio waves, analog systems, even physical message carriers connected a growing network of humans unwilling to accept defeat. Commander Reyes had survived. Her escape pod had been recovered by fishermen off the coast of Japan. Her presence kept secret as she recovered from her injuries. Now, she moved through the shadows, gathering intelligence and recruiting for the resistance. "The Alliance believes they understand us," she told a group of former military personnel in a hidden bunker. "They studied our digital communications, our defense systems, our official protocols. But they missed something fundamental about humans. We're our most dangerous when cornered." Dr. Chen's team worked tirelessly, developing technology based on his theories. They called it the Adaptive Quantum Response System, AQR for short. Unlike Earth's previous defenses, which were static and predictable once understood, the AQR could analyze incoming energy signatures and reconfigure itself in microseconds. "The Alliance's technology is like a key fitting a lock," Chen explained to Reyes when she visited his facility. "Perfectly engineered, incredibly efficient, but only works for one specific lock. Our technology will be like a lock that changes its configuration every time they try to use their key." "How close are you?" Reyes asked, examining the prototypes. "We've achieved stability in the lab, but we need to test it against actual Alliance weapons, and we need to find a way to mass-produce these systems quickly." The opportunity came 3 months into the occupation. The Alliance had begun dismantling Earth's industrial infrastructure, converting factories to produce components compatible with their technology. A convoy transporting salvaged weapons systems from a former defense installation provided the perfect target. Reyes led a small team to intercept the convoy. The operation was high risk. If captured, they would reveal that organized resistance existed. But they needed those weapons to test Chen's technology. The raid succeeded, though not without casualties. 2 resistance fighters died, their sacrifices allowing the team to capture an intact Alliance energy weapon and its power source. Chen's team immediately began reverse engineering the technology. "This confirms my theories," Chen said after preliminary analysis. "Their weapons operate on predictable quantum states. Once we understand the pattern, we can create countermeasures that adapt faster than they can compensate." As the first half-year of occupation drew to a close, the Alliance believed they had secured Earth. Human cities operated under their supervision, resistance appeared limited to isolated incidents, and the process of integrating Earth into the Alliance's economic structure proceeded according to plan. Zartek even felt a measure of pride at how efficiently the operation had proceeded. In his reports to Alliance High Command, he noted that despite humans' reputation for unpredictability, they had responded to defeat with pragmatism. He couldn't have been more wrong. Beneath the surface of apparent cooperation, Project Phoenix neared completion. Chen's team had successfully miniaturized the AQR technology, creating systems that could be installed in salvaged human vessels and weapons. The resistance had established manufacturing facilities in abandoned mines and remote locations, slowly building an arsenal that the Alliance sensors couldn't detect. Rey stood before the assembled resistance leaders, Representatives from around the world gathered in an underground facility that had once been a nuclear shelter. 6 months ago, they destroyed our defenses because they thought they understood us, she said, her voice echoing in the cavernous room. They believed our technology was predictable, our responses catalogued and countered. They were right about our old technology. She gestured to the prototypes displayed around the room. But they failed to consider one crucial aspect of humanity. We adapt. The resistance leaders nodded in agreement, hope rekindling in their eyes. Phase 1 begins tomorrow, Rice continued. We'll test the AQR systems against Alliance patrols in coordinated strikes across 6 continents. If successful, we move immediately to Phase 2, reclaiming orbital assets. As the meeting concluded, Rice found herself standing alone, looking at a map of Earth now marked with Alliance control centers. The odds remained overwhelming. The enemy technologically superior. But for the first time since watching Aegis Station break apart around her, she felt something she had almost forgotten. Hope. The unexpected counterattack. 6 months into the occupation, Earth had transformed. Alliance structures dominated city skylines. Angular, crystalline towers that housed their administrators and technology. Humans moved through their daily lives under constant surveillance, their activities regulated by Alliance protocols. They were permitted to maintain their cultural practices, but forbidden from any research or development the Alliance deemed destabilizing. Zartek had established his headquarters in what had once been Geneva, converting the United Nations complex into the Alliance Governance Center. He stood on his balcony, observing humans moving through security checkpoints below. Unlike many of his officers, Zartek didn't despise humans. He found them fascinating, their short lives burning with an intensity his long-lived species rarely exhibited. Status report, he requested as his second-in-command. Velinar entered his chamber. Assimilation proceeds at expected rates, Velinar reported. Resistance activities decreased 12% this cycle. Our psychologists believe humans are accepting their new reality. Zartek made a gesture of acknowledgement, though something troubled him. The trajectory of human compliance seemed too smooth, too predictable for a species known for its chaotic nature. Increase surveillance in non-urban regions, he ordered, and triple security on all technology transports. His caution came too late. At precisely 300 hours Global Alliance time, resistance forces launched synchronized attacks against Alliance patrols and outposts across Earth. Unlike previous engagements, desperate, suicide missions with conventional weapons, these assaults demonstrated something new. In Moscow, an Alliance patrol found their weapons suddenly inoperative when firing upon apparent civilians, who revealed concealed devices that emitted pulses leaving Alliance soldiers incapacitated. In Cairo, resistance fighters deployed drones that adapted to Alliance countermeasures, changing their energy signatures faster than defense systems could target them. In Sao Paulo, an Alliance communication hub was rendered useless by devices that mimicked and then scrambled their quantum-encrypted signals. Dr. Chen monitored the attacks from the central resistance base, analyzing data as it streamed in. The AQR systems are working better than predicted, he told his team. The adaptive algorithms are learning with each engagement, becoming more efficient. Commander Reyes received the reports with carefully controlled optimism. Phase 1 successful, she confirmed. Begin Phase 2 preparations. Phase 2 was significantly more ambitious, reclaiming at least one orbital platform to re-establish Earth's presence in space. Their target was the smallest Alliance monitoring station in low Earth orbit, previously a commercial satellite repurposed by the invaders. The plan required precise timing and complete secrecy. While the Alliance responded to ground attacks, a small team would launch aboard a modified pre-invasion shuttle, using AQR technology to mask their approach and override Alliance systems. Reyes insisted on leading the mission herself. I was there when our defenses fell, she told Chen when he expressed concern. I need to be there when we begin taking them back. The shuttle, disguised with salvaged Alliance components and equipped with first-generation AQR systems, launched from a hidden facility in the Antarctic wilderness. 6 resistance fighters accompanied Rise, each specialized in aspects of Alliance technology they'd spent months studying. Approaching orbital insertion, the pilot, former NASA astronaut Maya Williams, announced, "AQR systems active and masking our signature." The station appeared ahead of them, a combination of Alliance crystalline technology grafted onto the original human satellite. According to intelligence, it was minimally staffed. Only 4 Alliance technicians, relying primarily on automated systems. They never expected an attack from below, Rise observed. Not after destroying our space capabilities. Docking proceeded without incident, the AQR systems tricking Alliance sensors into recognizing their shuttle as an authorized maintenance vessel. The boarding team moved swiftly, neutralizing the surprised Alliance personnel with non-lethal force. Within 20 minutes, they controlled the station. "Begin systems integration," Rise ordered. "Let's see what this position gives us." The answer came quickly. The station provided access to the Alliance Orbital Communication Network, a treasure trove of tactical data. They discovered patrol schedules, security protocols, and most crucially, the command authentication sequences used by Alliance vessels. On Earth, the Alliance response to the coordinated attacks had been hampered by the adaptive nature of human technology. Alliance soldiers found their superior weapons and defenses increasingly unreliable against opponents who seemed to anticipate and counter their every move. Zartek received the reports with growing concern. "Impossible," he muttered, reviewing footage of Alliance weapons failing against seemingly primitive human devices. Their technology was centuries behind ours. The humans appeared to have developed adaptive systems, his chief scientist explained reluctantly. "Unlike our optimized technology, their systems reconfigure in response to our attacks." "How?" "We destroy their research facilities, confiscated their advanced technology. We may have underestimated their capacity for innovation under pressure." The situation deteriorated further when Alliance Command lost contact with the orbital monitoring station. Attempts to re-establish communications failed, and vessels sent to investigate reported the station's transponder showed normal operation despite visual confirmation of unauthorized activity. Using information gathered from the captured station, resistance forces expanded their operations. AQR technology spread through the underground network, equipping more fighters and compromising Alliance control systems. 3 weeks after the initial coordinated attacks, humans controlled 5 orbital platforms and had established a defensive perimeter that Alliance vessels struggled to penetrate. Each attempt to reclaim the stations was met with technology that adapted to their approaches, learning and evolving with each engagement. Zartek faced the most difficult decision of his career. The Alliance High Command demanded he crush the resistance with overwhelming force, orbital bombardment of major population centers to force compliance through fear. The humans must learn their place, High Commander Voseth instructed via quantum communication. Their defiance threatens Alliance stability across 3 sectors. Make an example of them. But Zartek hesitated. Something about this conflict had shifted his perspective. These humans, he told his command staff, they had every reason to surrender, to accept defeat. Their major defenses were destroyed, their governments capitulated, their technology outmatched. Yet they adapted. They found ways to counter our advantages using principles we overlooked. All the more reason to crush them completely, Velnar argued. They are unpredictable and dangerous. They are survivors, Zartek corrected. And they have earned something few species ever received from the Alliance: reconsideration. The turning point came during what became known as the Battle of Luna. Alliance forces attempted to establish a new command base on Earth's moon, beyond the reach of ground-based resistance. Somehow, humans anticipated the move. As Alliance construction vessels approached the lunar surface, they encountered mining facilities supposedly abandoned months earlier, now repurposed with AQR technology that disabled Alliance ships without destroying them. Commander Rice directed the operation from the captured orbital station, now renamed Defiance. "We don't need to destroy their ships," she explained to her officers. "We need to demonstrate that their technology will not work against us. Not anymore." The message was clear. Humans would not be conquered by conventional means. Any technological advantage the Alliance deployed would be studied, adapted to, and neutralized. After the Luna defeat, Zartek took unprecedented action. Against the explicit orders of Alliance High Command, he initiated direct communication with Commander Rice. "Your species continues to surprise me," he admitted during their first exchange. "We believed our superior technology guaranteed victory. You confuse technology with innovation," Rice responded. "Your systems are more advanced, but they're static. Humans thrive on change, on adaptation. What do you hope to achieve? The Alliance still possesses overwhelming force. We don't want to defeat you, Supreme Commander. We want recognition. Partnership, not subjugation." Negotiations progressed slowly at first, complicated by Alliance High Command's fury at Zartek's insubordination. But as more Alliance vessels found themselves neutralized rather than destroyed by human adaptive technology, pragmatism prevailed. Dr. Chen presented the theoretical foundations of AQR technology during a historic meeting aboard the Defiance station. Alliance scientists listened with growing astonishment as he explained principles they had overlooked, focused as they were on optimization rather than adaptation. "Your approach to quantum mechanics seeks perfect stability," Chen explained. "Ours embraces controlled chaos. Both have advantages, but together," he smiled, "they could revolutionize space travel, energy production, medicine." 6 months after humans launched their unexpected counterattack, a preliminary agreement was reached. Earth would maintain its independence while joining the Galactic Alliance as an equal member, not a subjugated world. Human adaptive technology would be shared, while Alliance advancements would be made available to accelerate Earth's recovery. Zartek and Commander Rice stood side by side as the agreement was formalized, watching Earth rotate below the observation deck of Defiance Station. "You could have destroyed us," Rice acknowledged. "Orbital bombardment, biological weapons. You had options." "We would have destroyed your cities," Zartek corrected. "Your infrastructure, billions of your people. But as you've proven, destroying humans is not the same as defeating humanity. You adapt. You survive. The Alliance needs species like yours to challenge our assumptions, to prevent stagnation." As the first Alliance vessels departed Earth orbit, reconfigured for peaceful cooperation rather than occupation, humans began the process of rebuilding. The technology developed out of desperation now offered solutions to problems that had plagued humanity for generations: clean energy, environmental restoration, medical breakthroughs. Dr. Chen continued his research, now with access to Alliance scientific knowledge and collaborating with their leading minds. "They thought they'd destroy our defenses," he remarked to Reyes during the opening of a joint Human Alliance research facility. "Instead, they forced us to create something better." "That's humanity's greatest strength," Reyes agreed, watching human and alien scientists working side by side. "We don't just endure adversity. We transform it into opportunity." The Galactic Alliance had arrived expecting to find a troublesome, primitive species in need of control. They departed with newfound respect for a civilization that refused to accept defeat, that adapted when victory seemed impossible, and that ultimately transformed enemies into allies through ingenuity and determination. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through overwhelming force, but through their uniquely human capacity to adapt, innovate, and persevere.